welcome to the video. It's SOFI Wednesday. Big picture if you don't want to stick around for the whole video. I'm still super bullish on this one. I think 2025 is going to be banger for it. In this video, we'll talk about the daily and weekly price action so we can get a feel for when price can move, where price can move in the short term, long term. This will help us identify where we're going to add, where we're going to trim in line with our risk tolerances, and it's going to keep us a level head whilst the market's choppy. We'll also talk about the open options interest. This will give us a feel for what the big boys are doing with the stock and the market makers. Other than that, we'll touch on some news, and finally, my eToro portfolio is going to be linked in the description down below. Okay, moving straight on to the SOFI chart. Obviously, this has been really bad, with way worse than some of the other fintech stocks. I think the sentiment for SOFI has taken a bit of a doo-doo, especially after Cathie Woods has sold out of her entire position pretty much and bought some arguably expensive things already. But anyway, I still think this one's a steal deal. I think fair value currently for this sits around $16, and I think for next year fair value I'm projecting about $21. I think that's actually going to change quite a lot given the news we're seeing for SOFI with the loan securitization and crypto coming back to banks as well. Super excited for that. I think the next quarter we'll be able to update our models and project a little bit better with all of that rolling into it. Obviously, that's probably not going to affect the numbers directly in the next quarter because of the time it's going to take to update the systems and all that stuff. But the management will talk about this and they will give us some information. I can guarantee there'll be plenty of questions about it. Looking directly at the chart though, I've been adding quite aggressively on this drop. It's just a ridiculous price right now. Getting back to kind of $10 would be amazing. I would love to buy a good chunk there. This company for me is a long-term hold, years and years. I think this is the way banking's going to go in the future. And, the big boys are going to have to come to these guys to help with the back end. So I'm very excited to get some cheap shares on this one. But we did have this kind of head and shoulders pattern. That's obviously broken down. So a run down to kind of $10 shouldn't be too alarming. That would be nice to see. Look, like I say, I'd love to buy there. But kind of I've been buying at all the key levels down on the downside. But if we move back up, again, we're going to hit our head on the same levels we did on the way up before. So kind of 11.59, the historical resistance, about $12 for the fib, and there's some volume there as well. And, there's a lot of levels here people are going to be looking at all the way up to kind of $16, which ironically was where my fair value was. That was going to be the hardest level to break. But we'll look at the options market and see what they're looking at on that one. RSI is kind of really oversold. We are approaching a death cross, but I think price is going to start reversing and expand again. But a lot of this is going to be driven by the macro, and I've talked about that in the Tesla video yesterday, that I think we could get a bounce and then potentially a fade off again, but we'll see. Not too upset if that happens because I've got some cash spare. Let's have a look at the weekly quickly. RSI is kind of neutral bearish. MACDX Plus looks okay as well, and flow is kind of flat. But really, this chart looks more like just a back test to the kind of breakout here, which is nice. Okay, looking at the open options interest for SOFI, we can see we did break below the support that was kind of set at 11.50. There is a lot of strike volume at the $10 range, so again, we could bounce off that, but this is for this week, these strikes are, so maybe we wick down and bounce straight back up. However, most of the volume seems like it's where we are. Let's push it out a week, see what the market's thinking. So the really low strikes kind of faded away. Not too much exciting there, but like I say, SOFI is a long-term hold for me, so when I'm investing in this one I want to look quite far out. So let's go January 26th, shall we have a quick look? Again, a lot of interest on seeing this one collapse. I don't know really what they're thinking, but a lot of the price targets are kind of up to where the highs of where we've previously been. So a lot of uncertainty for SOFI this year. I think this is going to change. Each quarter they have is just better and better. I don't expect that to change. The only thing I think a little people are quite bearish on is the tech side of it. They haven't delivered the clients that people wanted. We do know they're still in the pipeline. It's just the banks and all that. They're really slow to move. Nothing can be helped there. I think people would like a little bit more transparency on that, and maybe we get that in the next quarterly earnings call. Fingers crossed, anyway. January 2027. So this looks good. This, again, people sort of just, it's a bit of a scattershot, really, isn't it? But like I said, I expect this. I think the market's really wrong on this one, so I'm pretty excited in it. We just have to wait for sentiment to shift. Not much to hate about the balance sheet and whatnot. News-wise for SoFi, up here I just put on the moves Cathie Wood made with the ARK Invest, basically what she sold, what she bought. I'm not really surprised. She loves Tesla. Doesn't it makes sense why she likes that? And she's super big on Hood, and they're just really retail driven, so it makes sense. But I just wish she hadn't sold out of SoFi whilst it had been hammered in price. She should have sold a bit higher. Typically, Cathie isn't great at timing her buys in most stuff, but she's normally pretty good with Tesla. So maybe there's a silver lining in that for ARK investors. Other than that, though, StockGoat, Kyle Whitegoat on X just put on some website traffic numbers. Love that. I mean, you don't have to be a genius to see there's been a lot of pushing there. Marty Party, he's more known on the crypto side. I think he does YouTube with Invest Answers. I think James. I think that's where he's from. Just the OCC now allows banks to get stuck in this. Obviously, there's a lot of other regulation involved with that. A lot of other regulators that banks have to adhere to, but this is good. Anthony Noto has been putting some very sus posts on X lately, so maybe he's hinting at some of this coming. Maybe it's something they've been working on for a while in the background with this expectation. We don't know. We didn't get much more information on that, especially not directly from SoFi. But SoFi is a bank, so they will have the opportunity to do so after they were forced by regulators to get rid of it, which is exciting. Other than that, we talked about it earlier, the SoFi find this word really hard to say, securitization loan platform business. Super excited about that. What did I write here? So I put most of these loans come from debt refinancing, and there has been a lot of bearish commentary on this, saying it's a small total addressable market and they've already got a large share of it. I think that's true when you look at a certain type of deals, but because these are typically debt refinancing, the total addressable market is much better, much higher, and they could gobble that up, but there's not a whole lot of competition there for it. What does this deal mean? It means if you were listening to SoFi's last 2 quarters, you already had the heads up that this is kind of the way that we're pivoting, high margin loan offerings, basically. So there's going to be a lot more fees without additional capital outlay or risk for SoFi. What's to hate about that? What is bearish about that? I love it. I don't know why everyone else doesn't love it. They could also use this kind of strategy for other types of loan as well. So there's a lot of expansion opportunity here. This could be really big, guys. I don't think the market really understands it very well. But as they deliver and upscale, we should get a better understanding, and the market should be able to see a little bit clearer. I think that's it for news. That's a wrap. Hope you like this. I've been trying to make the videos shorter, more concise, get the information out a little bit faster. Tell me if you like it. Tell me if you don't. But share this regardless, and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you tomorrow for tomorrow's update for PayPal.